followed by Sandhyarti at 7 o'clock. So then we'll have a small video presentation, followed by Guru Puja, and 8 o'clock we'll have the Damodar Deepotsav and Prasadam feast for all devotees. So all devotees are requested to please stay back and attend the whole program and honor Prasadam. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai. Om Swasti no Govinda Swasti no Achyutananto Swasti no Vasudevo Vishnurdadhato Swasti no Narayano Naro Vai Swasti na Padmanabha Purushottamo Dadhato Swasti no Vishvakseno Vishveshwaraha Swasti no Hrishikesho Harirdadhato Swasti no Vainateyo Harihi Swasti no Anjana Suto Hanurbhagavato Dadhato Swasti Swasti Sumangalaikesho Mahan Shri Krishna Satchidananda Ghana Sarveshwareshwaro Dadhato Om Swasti Om Swasti Om Swasti Shri Guru Paramananda Premananda Palaprada Prajananda Pradananda Seva Yamani Yojaya Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Dhyanam Krishnaicachetamadamoha vinashakarin Madristigochara Prabho Prabhupada Swamin Doshabhivritti Paridoshita Buddhe Sanchintayami Charanau Tava Bhakti Hetoh Vrindavane Ramanareti Prasiddha Bhumau Tatrapi Krishna Balarama Supada Mule Gnanam Param Parama Krishna Sudharmityuktam Dantastu Deva Prabhupada Namo Namaste 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 Kripa Purna Drishti Namaste Namaste Mahananda Dhatri Namamo Namama Punarraksha Raksha Prasiddha Prabho Pahi Mam Daksha Daksha Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Vanga Bhumi Janabhoshana Gaura Leela Gauranga Bhava Parisarana Matra Sheela Radha Mukunda Pada Padma Mano Vilasin Ananda Rashi Prabhupada Namo Namaste Upachara Idamasanam Swagatam Suswagatam Etat Padyam इदमर्घ्यम् इदमाचमनीयम् एष मधुपर्कः इदं पुनराचमनीयकम् इदं स्नानीयम् ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। जय जय प्रभुपाद संसारदाव नललीडलोक प्रणाय कारुण्यघनागणात्मं। संसारदाव प्रणाय कारुण्यघनागणात्मं। संसारदाव नललीढलोक प्रणाय कारुण्यघनागणात्मं। प्राप्तस्य कल्याणगुणार्णवस्य वन्दे गुरोश्री चरणारविन्दम्। प्राप्तस्य कल्याणगुणार्णवस्य वन्दे गुरोश्री चरणारविन्दम्। नृत्यगीता वादत्रमाद्य मनसो रसेना। रोमाञ्चकम्पाश्रुतरङ्गबाजो वन्दे गुरोश्री चरणा चकम्पाश्रुतरङ्गबाजु वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् श्रीविग्रहार धननित्यनाना शृङ्गारतन्मन्दिरमार्चनाथो युक्तस्य भक्तांश्च नियुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् युक्तस्य भक्तांश्च नियुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् चतुर्विधाश्री भगवत्प्रसादो स्वादन्न तृप्ता हरिभक्तसङ्गा चतुर्विधाश्री कृत्वैव तृप्तिं भजत सदैव वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् कृत्वैव तृप्तिं भजत सदैव वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् धवयोरपारा माधुर्यलीना गुणरूपनाम्ना प्रतीक्षणास्म धनलोलुपास्य वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् प्रतीक्षणास्वादनलोलुपास्य वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् तत्राधिदाक्षातिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरोश्री चरणारविन्दम् तत्राधिदाक्षातिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरोश्री चरणारविन्दम् साक्षादरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रे उत्तस्तताभं यत एव सद्भिः प्रभोर्या प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरोश्री चरणारविन्दम् किन्तु प्रभोर्या प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरोश्री चरणारविन्दम् यस्य प्रसाद भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसाद न गति कुतोऽपि यस्य प्रसाद यस्य प्रसाद भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसाद न गति कुतोऽपि स्तुवान्तस्य यशस्त्रिसन्ध्या वन्दे गुरोश्री चरणारविन्दम् ध्यायान् स्तुवान्तस्य यशस्त्रिसन्ध्या वन्दे गुरोश्री चरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरोश्री चरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरोश्री चरणारविन्दम् गुरोश्री चरणारविन्दं वन्दे गुरोश्री चरणारविन्दं वन्दे गुरोश्री चरणारविन्दं वन्दे गुरोश्री Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
कर्मणा न प्रजया धनेन त्यागेनैके अमृतत्वमानशुः परेण नाकं निहितं गुहायां विभ्राजते तद्यतयो विशन्ति वेदान्तविज्ञानसुनिश्चितार्था सन्न्यासयोगाद्यतयः शुद्धसत्त्वाः ते ब्रह्मलोके तु परान्तकाले परामृतात् परिमुच्यन्ति सर्वे दह्रं विपापं परमेष्मभूतं यत्पुण्डरीकं पुरमध्यः सग्गस्तं तत्रापि दह्रं गगनं विशोकस्तस्मिन् यदन्तस्तदुपासितव्यम् यो वेदादौ स्वरः प्रोक्तो वेदान्ते च प्रतिष्ठितः तस्य प्रकृतिलीनस्य यः परः स महेश्वरः।
जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा 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 जय गुरुदेवा श्रीला प्रभुपदा गुरुदेवा श्रीला प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपदा 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 जय प्रभुपदा जय जय गुरुदेवा प्रभुपदा गुरुदेवा जय प्रभुपदा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai.
Kiva Jaya Jaya Gaurachande Aratika Shobha.
Shiva Jayo Jayo Gora Chande Aratika Shobha.
Kiva Jaya Jaya Gaurachande Aratika Shobha.
Shiva Jaya Jaya Gora Chande Aratika Shobha.
Janana Vitata Vane Jagamana Labha. बनरा हरे आदि गौरी हमारा ढुलाया गाया मोकुंदा बासो घोषारे गाया संजाया मोकुंदा बासो घोषारे गाया शिव शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला शिव शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला शिव शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला मधुरा रे रंगा बाजे परमारसारा मधुरा रे रंगा बाजे परमारसारा मधुरा रे रंगा बाजे परमारसारा मधुरा घंटा बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे घंटा बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे घंटा बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे घंटा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर मधुर ताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल शिव बहो कोटि चंद्रजी वदाय उज्ज्वला शिव गला दे जय बाना माला ओरे जलमाला दे जय गला दे से बना माला तोरे जलमाला Shiva Sukha Narada Preme Radha Shiva Shiva Shiva
A pure devotee is one who has dedicated his life to the eternal service of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. He is committed to only engaging in activities that bring pleasure to the Lord. Because of his complete surrender and constant engagement in devotional service, a pure devotee's presence can purify a place of pilgrimage. He is self-realized and has a perfect perception of life in the material world, but his consciousness is always spiritual, and therefore he is a pure representative or ambassador of the spiritual world. So, for him, leaving the material world is only a change of destination to carry on his eternal service to the Lord.
Srila Prabhupada Jivira Darada Dukhi Srila Prabhupada Viraha Vasare Tava Hiriya Vasada Jivira Darada Dukhi
I went to LA And because Kusa told me to go to Los Angeles at that time because Srila Prabhupada was there. So then I said, okay, Mom, Dad, you got to take me to LA. There's a temple there. I need to go. I wrapped it up, put my sleeping bag together, and I had 6 yards of material that they told me to bring. And I didn't know why. I really didn't understand how to even put on a sari. So I went to LA, and lo and behold, there was this big, huge Sankirtan movement of Christmas marathon. And I walked into the room there, and there all this money jingling, and and the devotees were coming back from Sankirtan. It was so like hectic, but incredibly beautiful. And that was my first experience when I went to the LA temple. So then the next day in the morning, about 4 o'clock, they told me to take a cold shower. So I took a cold shower. And they helped me put on my 6 yards of material. And they took me to the temple, Jagadatri, Didi, and there was Prabhupada. There was Prabhupada. And when I saw Srila Prabhupada, I knew I had found the truth. And I knew that Srila Prabhupada needed help. I knew he needed help. And that was like later on, but I still, there was a lot to do. So Prabhupada kept talking about, his books. He kept talking about his books and distributing his books. And one time he said, you can preach as much as you want, but as soon as they leave, they'll forget everything. But if you give them a book, then they'll remember. They'll remember. They can go home and study for themselves the books. So he preached a lot about distributing the books.
So then Srila Prabhupada was in his rooms in New Mayapur, and that was in 1976, and the devotees were on the lawn taking prasadam. And when Prabhupada looked out of his room, he saw all the devotees all lined up for prasadam and happily taking prasadam. Prabhupada was so pleased. And one of the devotees looked up and saw Prabhupada there. So we all paid obeisances and we said, Jai Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada, he put his arms in front of the window, he puts his arms up like this. And he's, like greeting us. He was so happy. And at that time, he said to Bhagavan, you get me 3 castles or 4 castles like this, where the devotees can live together and take prasadam and be happy. So he was very, very pleased. Then that same day after they were going for a walk, we were all following Srila Prabhupada on the walk. I was with my daughter, and she was 4 months old, like this, so it was summer 76. And then Prabhupada, at one point, he sat behind, under a tree, and there was a little desk in front of him, and he's giving Bhagavad Gita class. And I would come back and forth because she would make a little noise, so I would go a little away and come back. And one devotee was asking a question after the class, and says, Srila Prabhupada, at the Guru Puja we are singing always that you are my spiritual master life after life. So does that mean that you will come back to save us when we don't make it this lifetime? And then Srila Prabhupada, I just came back. I heard half the question, but I heard the answer. And Prabhupada banged his fist on that little table in front of him, where the book was. And he said, you make it this lifetime, don't make me come back. And that hit me hard. I said, wow, we have to do this, we have to take it serious. So that's why I came when I was asked about the quality that Srila Prabhupada, that impressed me the most. Before I used to think his humility, his compassion, but actually in my relationship with Srila Prabhupada, it's always been his gravity, but a gravity full with compassion and concern. Because also when I see that picture of Srila Prabhupada giving me my beads, he's looking very serious. Because he knows, I was very enthusiastic, I was 20 years old, I just became of age actually, 21 years old. I made the best decision in my life, and I was going to do this for the rest of my life. There's a straight path back to Godhead. And very unknowing that this path can come with obstacles and troubles and sideways, and I had no idea at that time, but Prabhupada, I could see it in his gaze. He knew that this was not going to be an easy path, although the perfect path, not easy. So when Prabhupada said that again, he said in New Mayapur, he said, I have given you everything. There's no reason why you cannot make it this lifetime.
Abadhakaruna Sindhu Katiya Mohana Nityananda Kare Chila Prema Vanyadana Abadhakaruna Sindhu Katiya Mohana Nityananda Kare Chila Prema Vanyadana Yadira Kavale Chila Shrota Pravahite Tadira Badhila Maya Vrata Parahite Jira Darada Dukhi
Well, even as we hear in Bhagavatam, the most important one than everything else is his complete surrender to his Guru. Guru Seva. Surrender like this. 100%. We can see selflessly surrendered to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That was his life. And that's what he taught. Everything will be successful if you just surrender and make the instructions and the moods, the inner moods of your Guru, your life and soul. That's what brought Prabhupada to America. Yeah, everything like this. And of course, Kirtan. He just had some in the holy name, isn't it? He was under the tree in Tamkaskar, just no fancy tune, nothing, just Hare Krishna, and the whole world came dancing, isn't it? So he had that faith in Sri Guru and Harinam, like this, Of course, he is an eternally liberated soul, so he brought Vrindavan with him. That's the quality, So he has the qualities of the Brajvasis, especially those in the group of Sri Rupa Goswami. He's Rupa Nuga. And he always talked about Vrindavan, always. So. And all the rest was there, the humility, everything was just naturally there. But Bhaktisiddhanta was everything to him.
Prabhupada was there for us for Janmashtami, but couldn't partake in that. I remember the Life Membership office where I was working was right next to his darshan room, and then further along was his bedroom. But so often we would hear Prabhupada in the next room just coughing and having difficulty in his breathing. And it's a terrible thing to hear someone that you love going through that just perpetually. And it's not that there was going to be any respite for that. There's no treatment, there's nothing that seemed that was going to make that better. That's a very painful thing for any person, to hear. So this made us very reflective of our responsibilities to Prabhupada, both in terms of being good disciples and keeping his mission prospering and flourishing. Then the day after Janmashtami was Vyas Puja, and Prabhupada came down to the temple room, and Tamal Krishna gave the class and gave a little story of Prabhupada's life and achievements. And Prabhupada was just sitting there kind of enjoying it, hearing these different things. And at one point, Tamal Krishna says, and Prabhupada, would go anywhere and preach anywhere, whatever the situation, Prabhupada was willing to preach. And Prabhupada says, even in a garage. There was some program that he'd done, even in a garage. So Prabhupada enjoyed the Vyas Puja. Again, we didn't sing the Guru Vandana prayers and Prabhupada's. We had Guru Puja, but we just, you know, sang the Maha Mantra.
जाते गोसाई नामे तारा प्रवाह बदीला अपने आसिया प्रभु मुहाना खोलेला जाते गोसाई नामे तारा प्रवाह बदीला.
So I think one of the qualities that most endears Prabhupada to me is his broad-based love, his unconditional love, his patience, such patience, teaching us and being tolerant of our mistakes and forgiving us for mistakes and offenses even. Prabhupada was just such a stalwart. He just, he filled our hearts with love, and he never asked anything from us, actually. He just wanted us to serve Krishna. He wanted us to serve the highest, serve the supreme, dedicate one life, just one life, to serving Krishna, and gave us the highest benediction of all. Unfathomable, actually. Coming from an impersonalist stance, and then transitioning, understanding that God is ultimately a person, the supreme person. And then he sends his beloved disciples, his beloved servants, you know, his devotees, to come and fetch us back, to bring us back to him. How much love does that take? That's so much love. And that's what Prabhupada always meant to me, never anything else.
So when I met Srila Prabhupada the next time, that was in London. Then my husband at that time was taking cancer treatment, radiation treatment, and so he was at the manor, and Prabhupada was visiting, and so he told me to come from Amsterdam. He said, "Just come, Srila Prabhupada here. You can take association from Srila Prabhupada." And at that time, Prabhupada was very sick, and I remember still that he had wrapped all the doors with thick cloth, because the banging of doors would disturb Srila Prabhupada. And then he would come for darshan. They would carry him down the stairs on a palanquin, and then they would make him take him in front of the deities, greet the deities like this, and then they would take him to the place where the Vyasasan was, and he would sit there. So then, instead of giving class, we just do kirtan. Prabhupada wasn't giving class, and it was very special because we got to take darshan of Srila Prabhupada. Instead of, usually when there's class, you hear Srila Prabhupada, and this time we're just gazing at him, and he would have his feet a little swollen from the blood flow disturbance, and his feet were looking so beautiful, like baby feet, so soft and little swollen, beautiful. So it was a beautiful meditation. And I had my daughter on my lap. And sometimes, at that time, then when Prabhupada he had his hands on his lap, and then he would move his thumbs, and then that was a sign for all the devotees to jump up in ecstasy and start to dance. But at one point, so we were all sitting and gazing at Prabhupada. I was gazing at Prabhupada and filling my eyes with the nectar of Prabhupada's darshan. But my daughter, with the kirtan, she jumped in on my lap, because she was enthusiastic, sitting on the kirtan. So all the time her face was in front of my eyes. So I got disturbed about it, and I took her little arms and put her down, like, sit still, because I want to look at Prabhupada. And I looked very eagerly at Prabhupada, and he looked me right in the eyes, very stern again. So like, what are you doing? You're stopping your child from enjoying the kirtan and being engaged in this bliss just because you want to enjoy gazing like this. And it took me like, wow, I got my personal instruction here. I have to take care of my children. I take care of my child. So I was very surprised about this, and I thought, oh, I might have imagined it. But then little by little, over the years, these stories were coming out, that especially in that meeting when Srila Prabhupada was there, he had contact with every single devotee in the room, and they all have a story like this. I heard them in the corridor already talking, oh, this Prabhupada was looking right at me, or Prabhupada was instructing me this way, that way. I said, wow, it was actually true, that was a personal instruction, which I was supposed to take to heart.
So I cannot speak. I'm feeling very weak. I have to go to other places like Chandigarh, so that. But I cancel the program because the condition of my health is very deteriorating. So I prepared to come to Vrindavan. If death takes place, let it take place. So there is nothing to be said new. Whatever I have to speak, I have spoken in my books. Now you try to understand it and continue your endeavor. Whether I am present or not present, it doesn't matter. As Krishna is living eternally, similarly, a living being also lives eternally. But Kirti Jasasa Jivati, one who has done service to the Lord, he lives forever. So we have been taught to serve Krishna, and with Krishna we live eternally. Our life is eternal. Na hannati hannamani sarire. A temporary disappearance of the body doesn't matter. Body is meant for disappearance. Tata dehantara prapti. So live forever by serving Krishna. Thank you very much.
कृपा बिंदु दिया करो दासे तृण पे खाती है ना
गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु दिया करो दासे तृण पे खाती है ना
I'll never die. I shall live for my books and you will utilize.
सकल सहाने बल दिया करो निज माने स्पृहा है ना
सकल सहाने बल दिया करो निज माने स्पृहा है ना
गुरुदेव
Hare Krishna. Now we'll having Guru Puja to Srila Prabhupada. So I request all devotees to be kindly be seated and participate in the Guru Puja.
Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma साधे बाय ये भाव तोरिया जाए पहला महाराज को दिया जहाँ प्रसादे भाई ये भाव तो कृष्णा प्राप्ति होई जहाँ होते कृष्णा प्राप्ति होई जहाँ होते क्या चिते ते कोरिया क्या गुरु मुखा पद्मा वाक्या चिते ते कोरिया क्या आराना कोरी हो माने आशा आराना कोरी हो माने आशा जय प्रसादे पूरे सा आशा चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्म जन्म प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्म जन्म प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान दिव्य प्रकाशित दिव्य ज्ञान दिव्य प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्ति जाते अविद्या विनाश जाते प्रेम भक्ति जाते अविद्या विनाश जाते वेद गाय चाहड़ चरित वेद गाय चाहड़ चरित श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु माधव जनर बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु माधव जनर बंधु लोकना लोकेरा जीवाना लोकना लोकेरा जीवाना हाँ प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पादा चाया हाँ प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पादा चाया हे बेजाज गुश त्रिभुवना श्रीला प्रभुपाद कपित पवना जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara Radhe. Jai Shri Shri Radha Damodar ki jai. Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasatkundalam Gokule Brajamanam. Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasatkundalam Gokule Brajamanam. वीरस्तं शतवृत्तिबन्धे Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama